Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Smackdown on December 13th, 2016. And, I was not a huge fan of this week's Smackdown, with the exception of the main event and the Tag Team Battle Royal. Mainly because it didn't feel like it really progressed much of anything going down the road here. Though there's some good stuff that came out of this, but kind of the show felt kind of and maybe that's just on an aspect that they have so much time before they really have another pay-per-view, and also the aspect that they're building for like what's supposed to be this bigger show for the end of the year, because the last show at the end of the year, December 27th, they have they're going to have a WWE title match, and they're going to have John Cena returning, or that's what they're promoting for the show at this point in time. But let's go through what they did on the show. First of all, they sent James Ellsworth home, and that was because he was sick. And by the way, that was probably one of the worst. I've seen some pretty bad acting jobs getting out of work for a day, and that was a pretty bad one. Though I do like the aspect of Shane McMahon, after James Ellsworth sneezes on Daniel Bryan, like overdoing it with the hand sanitizer and everything in that sense. But yeah, they sent Daniel Bryan home and said, we've got to come up with an idea for a new number one contender and everything in that sense. This does lead into that Miz TV segment where AJ Styles was the main guest, and he was like, both of these guys are like being overly complimentary to each other, like almost to the point of trying to just kiss each other's ass and everything in that sense. This is kind of like the whole heel thing to pull off. This does eventually this leads to AJ saying, like, who's left for him to face? He keeps beating everyone. Like, this brings Miz, like, teasing Miz being his next contender, saying it's like, I feel like not only am I on your level, I'm above your level. Like, I've taken this Intercontinental title to new heights and everything in that sense. And says he's above AJ in that area of everything. So teasing Miz wanting a shot at the world title. This does eventually have Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler come out. They do kind of brawl in the end. All three of them brawl in the end. What was it? Ziggler eats a skull-crushing finale, and then Dean Ambrose does dirty deeds to both Dolph Ziggler and Miz. This leads to one more person coming out, though, and that was Luke Harper. Kind of an out of nowhere, kind of out of left field side of everything, with Luke Harper coming out to attack Dean Ambrose and basically inserting himself into that area. This does lead to to a fatal four-way being made by Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon later. Between all four of those men, a fatal four-way elimination match, and the winner is going to become the new number one contender. Natalya went up against Carmella. This match was fine. But they're still playing up the whole aspect of who attacked Nikki Bella storyline throughout most of this. Nikki was out there on commentary, and throughout the entire match, Natalya was like, I didn't do it, and like being distracted trying to explain to Nikki while she's in a match. Man, they really do make Natalya come off as not looking all that smart and everything. Like, that's not really the time to try to explain to somebody that, yeah, it didn't come off all that good. But that's the storyline that they're continuing on playing and everything in that sense. Carmella does come out with a victory in the end with a roll-up, and they're still playing off that aspect that they have not revealed who the woman was that attacked Nikki Bella. Like, they can still, like, they even tease it up as like, oh, one thinks it's Carmella, the other thinks it was Natalya. Someone even throws out there is like, well, what about the Raw women who were in the match? And then JBL even says he feels like Nikki Bella just faked it and said she didn't feel up to the pressure of being the leader of the SmackDown team. So, like I said, they're still playing off of the Survivor Series aspect of everything. You had a backstage segment with Gabriel Iglesias. I'm a big fan of his comedy and everything. I've watched a bunch of his comedy in the past. He meets up with Apollo Crews. Miz and Maurice interrupt it, like, because they're being real loud. And, like, she's like, quiet on the set. Everything is like, you got to be quiet on the set right now, because Miz is trying to get ready for the number one contendership match. And God, the joke that they used for Iglesias to get out there was like, yeah, he's a better comedian than the joke that they used in every way. Like, this segment did not come off all that well. It kind of came off as just being there in that sense. In that sense of everything. This leads into the Tag Team Battle Royal. The winner of that was going to be the number one contenders to Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, well, the Wyatt families tag team titles, because they have fully affirmed that they are going to be using the Freebird rule with those tag team titles. This was an interesting style battle royal. Most of the times when you have a tag team battle royal in there, once one member of the team is eliminated, the entire team is gone. But in this case, all members of the team had to be eliminated before that occurred. Like, Simon Gotch was eliminated within the first 2 seconds of the match. Like, it's like, nah, you're not going to stay. You're gone. Really quickly. Mojo Rawley just gets rid of him. Dispatches him really quick. Overall, not a bad match. Not a bad match because it also continues on storylines. And by that, I mean the other storyline in the tag team area is the aspect of whether or not Heath Slater and Rhino are going to be sticking around together. Now they're teasing the split off between these two, and they continue that a little bit here with Heath Slater accidentally eliminating Rhino, but staying in there for quite a bit of time as well, teasing that they might still get a tag title shot to go along with it. One thing that I noticed, and it took them so long to remember, and even the commentators messed up at times, that they missed the Mojo Rawley elimination, and no one even mentions anything of it for like a good 3 to 5 minutes that he was eliminated from the match until they showed it a little bit later in a replay. It was a pretty interesting aspect of it, and I was actually kind of, I think a lot of people felt like American Alpha was going to go over here in that case of everything. Like, they kind of built them to do so and everything in that sense, but now they had the Hype Bros win that match. But now it looks like Zack Ryder is going to be out with a knee injury, and it's even it's kind of confirmed now. Like, Zack Ryder says he's going to Birmingham to have essentially surgery on his knee, so he's going to be out for a little while. Hopefully it's not a major surgery for him, and it won't keep him out long, because, first of all, you don't want to see any of those guys actually get hurt in the end. At least I don't think many people who watch want to see them fully get hurt in the terms of real life. They play off the storylines and everything in that sense. And everything. Like, you want to see people get their upcomings and everything. I would prefer them playing, like, how they used to play back in the day. Like, people believe that they're getting hurt, but they're not really getting hurt. And everything in that sense. Like, someone does get sent to the hospital, like how they do the hospital angle all the time, but they really don't need to go and everything in that sense of everything. A little bit of kayfabe, basically. I still like kayfabe. I know some people love the factor that it's been thrown out the window and everything. I'm still a fan of that kind of stuff, though. But Zach apparently does get really injured on. I can't tell on what spot he really gets injured on, but he did hurt his knee, and hopefully he gets to come back really quickly. Hopefully it's not a serious injury in any way, shape, or form. But the Hype Bros, I guess, are going to have a tag title shot somewhere down the road here. And they even played up on Talking Smack a little bit with the Usos showing up on there, because one of the Usos has been out with an ankle injury for a period of time, so they weren't even in this match. And so they were bidding to try to become number one contenders and everything like that as well. And this... so they even played off that aspect, and we'll see where they go with everything down the road here. Up next, they had Alexa Bliss, and she was coming out for a match against, was it not Daria, but Diana Purrazzo, I think. I think it was Diana. Well, I know it's Purrazzo. She showed up on NXT on numerous occasions as well. So she had come out there. I like the aspect that Alexa Bliss is like, I'm not going to do a charity case or anything like that, so I'm not going to wrestle this person. She just beats her down and throws her out of the ring. This does prompt Becky Lynch to come out there and try to get her rematch again. Obviously, Alexa Bliss was trying to duck it and duck the match and everything in that sense, but she gets stopped by Shane McMahon, who makes the match and you go forward. And Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch was not a bad match, but they're playing off storyline that they're going to keep this going around because Becky Lynch does win the match, but she wins it by countout because of a knee injury. What you would assume would be another knee injury from Alexa Bliss. Like, she was playing it up like she was hurt. She gets herself counted out, and then afterwards, when Becky gets her back into the ring, she's moving just fine, and then re-limps again afterwards. So they're playing off this storyline. Is like, was she really hurt? Was she really not hurt? Or everything in that sense. So they're playing her up as at least a classic heel in that sense of trying to duck out of the match as much as possible. Only showing injury when she really needs to show the injury or something in that sense. So we'll see where they try to go with everything down the road here. And the one weird thing is like when they did do the knee injury spot outside the ring, when Alexa gets out of the ring and looks like she tries to make people believe she twisted her knee or something in that sense. What's Becky Lynch not doing going out there and just getting her back in the ring? They played it up as like the referee was stopping her as the 10 count happens. Like, how often does that actually work in that sense of everything? It just made Becky Lynch come off a little bit weak in that sense, in the sense of I could just go out here and go get her in the ring and everything in that sense. But I guess they're playing her up as a full-on, like, an honest competitor doesn't want to go after somebody when they're injured or something in that sense. So, I mean, that's a good way of going, too. It does play up to that, how her fighting spirit is, that she would not go after somebody who's quote-unquote injured, even if they're feigning it at that time. Well, they're making her trying to make her believe that Alexa was injured at that point. So they're trying to play the character up that way. So, overall, not a bad match, and they're going to continue this on somewhere down the road. We'll see how that goes off. This leads into the main event of the night, which was Dean Ambrose, The Miz, Luke Harper, and Dolph Ziggler for number one contendership to the WWE World Title, or World Heavyweight, whichever one they're deciding to call it this week. Basically, they switch between World Heavyweight Title and World Title a lot now. This match was good. This match was really, really good. This was probably by far the most enjoyable portion of the show in the terms of match quality. Some of the other ones were at least decently told stories and everything to go along with that, so that's why I enjoyed those portions of the show. But this one, match quality-wise, was really good. I liked how Luke Harper came off during the entire match. It was interesting, like, how they played it up is like, oh, The Miz is, like, they're gonna probably potentially give The Miz the shot or anything like that, and he gets eliminated first from the match and everything to go along with it. So all that hype kind of goes right off the bat. So you have Luke Harper go in there, and they make him look good in this match because, like, he controls the vast majority of the beginning of the match, and they in the end they make it where Ziggler and Dean Ambrose have to hit their finishers to eliminate him to go along with it. So they made him come off looking really good here in the end. And they also are firmly going with this aspect of potential Miz versus Dean Ambrose storyline, because Miz comes out and he comes back out towards the end of the match, and he does distract both guys, where like both of them attack him and everything in that sense. But he goes after Dean Ambrose and like stops him from getting back in the ring after he had knocked out Dolph Ziggler outside the ring, and puts him, or not knocked him out, but you know what I mean. He knocked him down after they had taken out the Miz. But he's grabbing his foot, causing the distraction, allow Dolph Ziggler to hit the super kick and get the win. So now you're going to have Dolph Ziggler and AJ Styles, which is going to be a really good match. I feel like that could be a really, really good match between the two of them on December 27th. And it looks like they're going with they're trying to affirm and establish an aspect of Miz and not Dolph Ziggler, but Dean Ambrose's storyline as well for at least a little while to go along with it. So we'll see where they go with everything. Overall, this week's SmackDown I felt was a little bit lacking. Like, there were some points that I really did like on the show and everything in that sense. But I think, like last week's SmackDown didn't come off all that well, and this week's SmackDown was about the same way. It had some high points, but It didn't have enough high points to say that it was a really good show by any stretch of the imagination. It was okay. I can't say it was a horrible show, but it was okay in the end. So we'll see where they go with everything. And that is my review this week for WWE Smackdown Live. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.